in the material world. The universe shaped by Yaldabaoth. Certain archontic forces watch over the deepest regions of our psyche. Belias, the 12th archon, nicknamed the Master of the Abyss, rules the 5th and final level of Hades. He is the archon of the depth, presiding over the abysses of the pneuma. Within this mental chasm, the human soul, having already been trapped and fixed by Abrizen, confronts the confusion generated by Yobel, the fear provoked by Armupiel, the forgetfulness reinforced by Melkeir, and finally the abyss that Belias reveals when the mind sinks into doubt, despair, and melancholy. But what is the abyss? How does Belias act upon our psyche? And how, in this vertiginous moment, can we escape his grip and awaken our pneuma? Belias is an emanation of Yaldabaoth, his nature shaped by the density and darkness of the abyss. Like all other archons, he is neither benevolent nor malevolent. He is the embodiment of psychic gravity, the depth where the soul confronts itself. The abyss governed by Belias is not a mere void or chasm, but a space where fears, doubts, melancholy, and the accumulated forgetfulness imposed by the other archons crystallize. His ontological nature reveals a fundamental principle. He structures the psyche by confronting the soul with its inner darkness, not to destroy it, but to maintain the cycle of illusion imposed by Yaldabaoth. Acting sometimes in moments of extreme mental fragility, he, thus, perfects the work of the demiurge. Yet Belias ignores the pneuma. He acts only upon the human psyche, leaving intact this divine spark capable of awakening. Within the abyss, the soul is tested, challenged, and confronted with its limits, making Belias both a guardian and a revealer of the mind's hidden recesses. Even in this depth, however, the spark of the pneuma remains intact, offering the soul the possibility of awakening despite the psychic oppression. Belias occupies the 5th and final level of Hades, the deepest stratum of the pneuma, where material illusion reaches its maximum intensity. He stands at the end of a path traversed by the soul through the actions of the other archons. Abrizen fixes beliefs and ossifies the psyche. Yobel instills confusion, overturning values. Armupiel evokes fear and a loss of rationality. And Melkeir reinforces the forgetting of our true nature. It is within this sequence that Belias intervenes, revealing the ultimate abyss. The psyche, confronted with its own darkness, must face the inner vertigo, the darkest part of ourselves. In this cosmic hierarchy, Belias is not merely a guardian of the depth. He is the culmination of archontic forces in the lower realms, concentrating and amplifying all the psychic pressures previously imposed. His domain has neither light nor relief. It is a frozen space where doubt, despair, and melancholy take shape, where every thought and emotion finds its reflection in the abyss. The risk is abyssal: loss of empathy, erasure of moral values, extreme apathy, and existential sadness. Cosmologically, Belias symbolizes the extreme of archontic domination over the human psyche. Yet, this position is not absolute, for even at the heart of the abyss, the presence of the pneuma reminds us that liberation is possible. And thus this pinnacle of archontic forces is also the ultimate test for the awakening of the pneuma. Belias acts upon the human psyche in a subtle but relentless manner. He imposes no beliefs or dogmas, yet he amplifies the faults and fractures already present within the soul. His role is that of an inner mirror. He reveals to the soul its limits, fragilities, and contradictions, making tangible the weight of archontic illusion. In this space, every thought, every emotion, every memory is reflected and transformed into a trial. The soul feels vertigo, the sensation of being engulfed, and may become trapped in a cycle of fear, doubt, and melancholy if it fails to recognize its own inner light. All our sins toward others and ourselves are reflected in this relentless mirror. There is no judgment, only a confrontation between our actions and our self-awareness. The greater the gap between our deeds and our consciousness, the more intense the psychic fall. Only the pneuma, ignored and undetectable by the archontic order, can resist the domination that acts solely upon the psyche. Moreover, the stronger this domination, the more it can provoke the awakening of the divine spark. In this regard, Belias' action is both oppressive and revelatory. It exposes the soul to the depth of its shadows while simultaneously creating an opportunity for awakening. Belias' influence unfolds through the density and depth of the abyss he opens. Every doubt, fragility, and repressed memory becomes an echo bouncing off the walls of the soul's chasm, amplifying remorse, faults, and sins. Symbolically, the abyss denotes infinite depth and darkness, a principle, origin, or weight. The word abyss comes from the Greek abyssos, meaning bottomless or of immense depth. Belias opens this chasm so that the human being may contemplate the dark, subterranean aspect of their nature. Just as formless matter is defined by default as an abyss deprived of light, so too is the human in forgetfulness of the pneuma, identified with an abyss. This abyss represents the soul's eternal damnation. For the Gnostics, this damnation is reincarnation within the materiality of the pneuma, in the flesh. Thus, the abyss, symbolically Trismegistic, condenses Belias' oppression of the human psyche the confrontation of our actions with our consciousness, and the damnation of the flesh within the cycle of reincarnation. Yet, this chasm also reminds us that facing our darkness is not a judgment, but a passage. The more intense the trial, the greater the opportunity to perceive the inner light. In this sense, Belias transforms oppression into an initiatory trial, an ultimate test revealing the soul's capacity to rise above the darkness within. Let us now return to the question that has guided our reflection. What is the abyss? How does Belias act upon our psyche? And how can we escape its grip to awaken our pneuma? This abyss is a symbol rich with meaning, yet it is primarily the sum of our actions, faults, doubts, fears, and ultimately our sins. When Belias opens the abyss, it compels our consciousness to confront the darkness of our soul. It is not a moral judgment imposed by the archon, but an invitation to an initiatory journey along the tortuous path of our psyche. This catharsis is a renewed attempt to guide the human soul toward forgetting. Yet, despite this oppression, the pneuma remains intact and undetectable by the archontic order. What seems to be an unsurmountable chasm becomes in reality an opportunity for awakening. The deeper the trial imposed by Belias, the more the soul can perceive its inner light and reconnect with the divine spark within. Thus, Belias is not merely a guardian of darkness. He is also a revealer of the soul. His abyss confronts us with our deepest fears, but also opens the way to knowledge and the awakening of the pneuma. Navigating the abyss means accepting our shadows, understanding their magnitude, and discovering that even in the heart of darkness, the possibility of light persists.